Have you ever held a small coin in your hand and wondered if it might be hiding a secret? Something so ordinary that no one gives it a second thought, yet somehow, it carries a story worth telling. Sometimes, the smallest pieces of change can surprise us, and today, we're starting with one of those little mysteries. This is the 2016 Roosevelt dime, and while it may look like every other dime in your pocket, it's far from ordinary. The Roosevelt dime has been around since 1946, honoring Franklin D. Roosevelt, the president who led America through the Great Depression and World War II. His connection to the March of Dimes made this coin a perfect tribute to his legacy. For nearly 8 decades, the design has stayed the same: Roosevelt's dignified profile on the front, and on the back, a torch flanked by olive and oak branches, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. By 2016, this little coin had already carried 70 years of history. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of them, each bearing the small P mint mark to the right of the date. On the surface, they all looked identical: small, silvery, and unassuming. But for collectors who pay attention, the 2016 dime holds some fascinating details that make it worth a closer look. Even with modern minting technology, no production run is perfect. Tiny differences and errors still slip through, and those little imperfections can turn an everyday coin into something worth noticing. Some 2016 dimes show small die cracks, faint doubling in the lettering, or slight misalignments in the design. Others have unusual surface marks or weak strikes that give the coin a distinctive appearance. These subtle quirks are what collectors love to hunt for, the kind of details that make one coin stand out among millions. If you look closely at the obverse, that's the front side, you'll see Roosevelt's calm but determined profile, sculpted by John R. Sinek. Beneath his chin lie the initials, JS, often overlooked but significant to those who know the history. The reverse design remains a masterpiece of simplicity, the torch of liberty shining bright, framed by branches of peace and strength, with the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. It's a design that's been struck billions of times, yet somehow, it never loses its meaning. Now, what really draws collectors to the 2016 dime is its potential. Imagine finding one that looks just a little different: maybe the torch lines are sharper, or the lettering seems slightly doubled. Maybe there's a small raised bump near the edge, or the mint mark looks off-center. To most people, it's just pocket change. But to a collector, it's a story, a clue, and a discovery. The condition of a coin plays a huge role too. Dimes that have never circulated, the ones kept straight from mint sets or rolls, often show razor-sharp details and brilliant luster. Some collectors search for examples with what they call full torch details, where every line of the flame and bands of the torch are fully struck and clear. Those tiny differences separate the truly special coins from the rest. What's fascinating is how easily these treasures hide in plain sight. The 2016 dime could be sitting in your pocket, your coin jar, or a drawer somewhere, waiting to be noticed. You might have handled it dozens of times without realizing that it's part of a much larger story, one of precision, chance, and the beauty of imperfection. Think about the journey of a dime like this. It starts as a blank metal disc, a planchet, fed into massive presses that strike it with incredible force. In a fraction of a second, Roosevelt's face and the reverse design are imprinted onto it. Billions of coins pass through that process, but every now and then, one coin ends up slightly different. Maybe a die is worn, or just a little misaligned, leaving behind subtle marks or distortions. Those coins are the ones collectors love to find, not perfect mistakes, but perfect mysteries. Some 2016 dimes show tiny die chips, like little raised dots of metal near the edges or letters. Others have faint doubling in Liberty or the date. These are small details, often invisible to the naked eye, but under the right light or magnification, they come to life. Each one tells a small story about the minting process and the unique conditions that created it. It's also worth noting that 2016 was a time when modern coin collecting was booming online. Collectors were sharing high-resolution photos, discussing new finds, and uncovering modern varieties in real time. That buzz helped coins like the 2016 dime gain attention. People began to realize that even recent coins, not just old silver ones, could hold secrets worth exploring. And that's the beauty of it. The Roosevelt dime is one of the smallest coins in U.S. circulation, yet it carries a sense of endurance and history. It's a coin that has seen generations come and go, presidents change, and the country evolve, but the design has stood strong. To think that a 2016 dime could hold the same emotional and artistic significance as one from 1946 is part of what makes collecting so fascinating. Collectors often say it's not just about what a coin is worth, it's about what it represents. The 2016 P dime might be valuable not only because of its condition or a possible mint error, but because it connects us to a larger story, the craftsmanship of the mint, the legacy of Roosevelt, and the thrill of discovery. So next time you come across a dime dated 2016 with that small P mint mark, take a moment before spending it. Tilt it in the light, study the details, and see what story it might hold. You could be holding a small piece of modern history, a dime that's more than just 10 cents, a coin that carries both beauty and mystery. Now let's move on to our next coin, and this one might just take your breath away. We're talking about a dime that started out as a simple piece of change but turned into one of the most fascinating modern minting errors ever found. This is the 2000 Roosevelt dime, and while it may look like the same 10-cent coin we all use every day, there's something truly special hiding beneath its surface. The year 2000 seemed like any other for the Denver Mint. Millions of Roosevelt dimes rolled off the presses, each bearing the familiar design we've seen since 1946, Franklin D. Roosevelt's profile on the front, and the Torch of Liberty, flanked by branches of peace and strength, on the back. To most people, they were just coins for everyday use. But somewhere in that massive production run, something unusual happened. During minting, a small mistake occurred, one of those rare moments that turn ordinary coins into collector legends. Some 2000 dimes were struck on the wrong planchet, the blank metal disc meant for another coin or even a foreign denomination. That means the metal composition, color, or weight wasn't quite what it should have been. These tiny differences created a dime unlike any other, and once they slipped into circulation, they instantly became treasures waiting to be discovered. At first glance, a 2000 era dime doesn't look strange. But under closer inspection, collectors noticed subtle differences. Maybe the coin looked a bit thinner, lighter, or its edge lacked the usual ridges. Sometimes the color was slightly off, or parts of the design appeared weak or incomplete. Small signs, but for experienced eyes, they told an incredible story. This dime wasn't supposed to exist. The Denver Mint is known for producing billions of coins each year, so the odds of finding one with such a major minting error are astonishingly low. But that's what makes coins like this so exciting, they're genuine accidents that can't be repeated. Each one is completely unique, a small, unintended masterpiece created by chance. Imagine finding one of these in your pocket change. Maybe you'd notice the odd texture or color and think nothing of it at first. Then, after a closer look, you realize something's different, and suddenly, you're holding a coin that collectors have been searching for. That's the magic of coin collecting, ordinary moments can turn extraordinary in an instant. Error coins like this capture the imagination because they remind us that perfection isn't everything. In fact, it's the flaws, the unplanned quirks, that make certain coins so special. Every error tells a story about what went wrong at the mint, and how, against all odds, the coin made it into the hands of the public. A few examples of the 2000 era dime have surfaced over the years, each carefully authenticated by experts and certified by grading services. Every time one appears, it sparks excitement among collectors. After all, these aren't just coins, they're one-of-a-kind pieces of minting history. Many collectors love to imagine what happened that day at the mint, the sound of presses pounding, blanks feeding through in perfect rhythm, and then, somehow, one wrong planchet slipping into the press unnoticed. One small oversight, 1 second of imperfection, and history was made. That's all it takes. And somewhere, deep in a bag of newly minted dimes, that single mistake was hiding. It traveled through banks, stores, and pockets, surviving years of circulation before someone finally noticed it. Just imagine the surprise on their face when they realized they were holding something no one else had, a dime that defied the odds. Stories like this remind us why people love collecting coins. It's not just about value, it's about the thrill of discovery, the sense of history in your hand. Each coin connects us to a moment in time, to the machines, the workers, and the small accidents that accidentally created greatness. And that's the beauty of this hobby, the thrill of discovery. You never know when the next incredible find might turn up. It could be in your change from the grocery store, a coin roll from the bank, or an old jar sitting on your shelf. All it takes is curiosity and a little attention to detail. So the next time you see a 2000D dime, stop for a moment. Feel the edge, check the color, tilt it under the light. If something feels just a bit off, you might be holding a rare piece of American minting history, one that's far more than just 10 cents. And here's the incredible ending to this story. One of these rare 2000D Roosevelt dimes, struck in error, was discovered, authenticated, and later sold for a jaw-dropping $46,000. Yes, $46,000 for a single dime that began its life as a minting mistake. Proof that sometimes, even the tiniest coins can hold the biggest surprises. So the next time you get change back at the store, don't just toss those coins aside. Take a look. That small, shiny dime might just be more valuable than you ever imagined. The 2000D Roosevelt dime is proof that even the tiniest slip at the mint can create something extraordinary, a small piece of metal turned into a piece of history, carrying a story worth thousands. And now, it's time to take a look at another remarkable dime, one that truly redefines the meaning of small but mighty. The 1997D Roosevelt dime may be tiny in size, but what happened during its creation at the Denver Mint has made it a legend among collectors. A simple coin, a routine minting year, and then, a single, fascinating error that changed everything. In 1997, the Denver Mint was producing millions of dimes for circulation, ensuring every coin met the strictest quality standards. Most did. But a few, just a few, slipped through with a striking difference that went unnoticed at first. It wasn't a bold flaw that caught the eye immediately, it was subtle, almost hidden, but once discovered, it became one of the most talked about modern errors in dime history. The Roosevelt dime, as always, featured the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the front, along with the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the back, representing liberty, peace, and strength. But for the 1997D dime, a rare mechanical mishap gave birth to something extraordinary. Some coins from this batch were struck with a misaligned die, or in certain cases, with a planchet that was never meant for this denomination. The result was a dime that looked slightly off balance, just enough for the trained eye to notice something was wrong. Collectors began to notice coins that were thinner than normal, with parts of the design faint or missing altogether. Others had edges that didn't display the typical reeded texture. There were even cases where the strike was off-center, leaving Roosevelt's face shifted toward the rim and creating wide blank spaces on one side. Every one of these imperfections told the same story, that a minting error had quietly made its way into the nation's pocket change. What makes the 1997D era dime so special is that these flaws weren't dramatic enough for the mint to catch immediately. These coins were released into circulation, mixed in with the rest, and vanished into everyday use. For years, nobody knew they were out there. But once collectors began uncovering them, word spread fast. Photos circulated, experts examined them, and the excitement only grew. Unlike older silver dimes, the 1997D era coin isn't about age or metal content, it's about the uniqueness of the strike. Each one tells a story about that single moment in the mint when machinery, timing, and human oversight intersected to produce something unrepeatable. That's what gives it power, the combination of chance and precision gone slightly awry. Finding one is like discovering a secret that was never meant to exist. You can almost picture the scene, rows of blazing presses working in perfect rhythm, hundreds of thousands of planchets being fed through every hour, and then suddenly, one planchet slipping out of place or a die shifting just enough to change history. It's an accident measured in fractions of a second, yet it's enough to transform an ordinary dime into a numismatic masterpiece. Collectors who have come across the 1997 D error describe a sense of disbelief at first. The coin feels different in the hand, lighter, smoother, somehow more fragile. When they look closely, they see that something is off, a faint doubling in the lettering, a distorted mint mark, or an unusual rim. Every detail feels like a clue to a mystery frozen in metal. Authentication experts quickly confirmed that these dimes were genuine minting errors, not damaged coins or fakes. And once certified, they became instant stars of the collecting world. Auction houses took notice. Coin forums buzzed with excitement. The humble 1997 D dime, once ignored, now commanded attention from every corner of the numismatic community. As more people learned about the coin, stories began to emerge, of collectors discovering them in loose change, of bankrolls hiding treasures no one expected, of families who'd unknowingly held one for years. Each story added to the mystery and allure, reminding everyone that fortune can hide in the most ordinary places. What truly fascinates experts about the 1997 D error is how precisely imperfect it is. The alignment, the weight, even the tiny inconsistencies in the metal surface all hint at how delicate the minting process really is. It's a perfect example of how one small misstep, something as simple as a shifted die or a misplaced blank, can create something history will never forget. And somewhere out there, maybe sitting in a drawer or tucked into an old coin jar, more of these rare dimes could still exist, waiting for someone with a keen eye to find them. It's that possibility that keeps collectors searching, checking every coin, hoping lightning might strike twice. The 1997 D error dime reminds us that value isn't always obvious. It's not about shine, or silver, or age, it's about the story each coin carries. This dime tells a story of chance, precision, and discovery. It's living proof that sometimes, the smallest mistakes create the most unforgettable treasures. So next time you come across a dime dated 1997 with that little D mint mark, take a closer look. Turn it under the light, feel the texture, inspect the details. You might just be holding one of the most remarkable coins ever to come from the Denver Mint. And here's the part that makes this story unforgettable. One of these extraordinary 1997 D Roosevelt dimes, struck in error and verified by experts, was sold at auction for an astonishing $55,000. In the last spotlight of today's rare coin journey, we arrive at something truly extraordinary, the 1985 D Roosevelt dime. This isn't just any dime, it's a coin that has become a legend in the collecting world, a story of chance, rarity, and the unexpected. Most dimes look nearly identical, especially those minted in the 1980s when the mint was firing off millions each day. They were made to be uniform, consistent, and perfect for everyday transactions. But hidden among those countless coins is a rare gem, a single dime that defied the norm and quietly slipped into history. The 1985 D dime carries with it a subtle, yet incredibly rare error. It's the kind of difference that doesn't shout for attention but whispers secrets to those who know how to listen. This coin might have a misaligned strike, a double die, or a planchet flaw, imperfections so delicate that they could easily be missed by the untrained eye, but which make all the difference in the collector's world. Picture the scene inside the Denver Mint back in 1985. The presses were running non-stop, churning out coins with mechanical precision. Each planchet was fed into the press, struck, and sent on its way in a perfect rhythm. The workers at the mint operated in a well-oiled machine of efficiency, overseeing the creation of millions of dimes that would soon find their way into the pockets and purses of everyday Americans. But on one rare occasion, something went off script. A slight misfeed, a die shift, or a planchet with a tiny flaw, these rare mishaps resulted in a coin that was different from all the others. A planchet may have been improperly prepared, or a die might have shifted fractionally, causing the design to appear off-center or doubled. These errors are invisible to most, but to those who know what to look for, they transform an ordinary dime into a one-of-a-kind treasure. That single coin, indistinguishable to most, holds a story of imperfection meeting opportunity. It's a physical reminder that even in the most tightly controlled manufacturing processes, small errors can create wonders. And in the world of coin collecting, these wonder coins become the crown jewels. The rarity of the 1985 D-dime error is amplified because so few were made, and fewer still have survived in good condition. Over the years, many coins with errors have been lost, damaged, or melted down, making those that remain even more valuable and harder to find. While millions of normal dimes circulated, only a tiny handful of these flawed beauties exist, making them highly sought after by collectors who understand their unique place in history. This coin isn't just valuable because it's rare, it's valuable because it represents a moment in time where human and machine intersected to create a once-in-a-lifetime piece. It's a symbol of the unpredictability of minting and the thrill that collectors feel when discovering something truly unique. There's something almost poetic about this coin. It's a reminder that perfection isn't always the goal, sometimes, the imperfections tell the better story. This dime carries decades of history, a silent witness to the many hands it passed through, and now, to the eagle-eyed collector who recognizes its true worth. Over the years, stories have surfaced about lucky collectors who stumbled upon this dime in their change or inherited one from a family collection. These tales add a layer of mystery and romance to the coin's legacy, a reminder that treasures often hide in the most ordinary places. Experts who have examined the 1985 D-dime error agree on one thing: it is one of the rarest and most fascinating modern coin errors out there. Its scarcity and the story behind it make it a prized possession for serious collectors around the world. Imagine holding this dime in your hand. The weight, the feel, the subtle irregularities all speak volumes about its journey from mint to market and finally, into the hands of someone who recognizes its true worth. Collectors describe a mix of emotions when they finally uncover such a coin: disbelief, excitement, and a deep sense of connection to the past. It's as if you've been handed a secret, a tiny artifact that holds a story no one else knows. With every glance, this coin invites you to dive deeper into its mystery, to imagine the moment it was struck and the path it traveled to survive decades intact. So next time you come across a 1985 D-dime, don't just glance over it. Take a moment to study the details, the strike, the edges, the mint mark, because you might be holding a piece of numismatic history that could change everything. And now, the moment that makes this coin's story truly unforgettable: one authenticated 1985 D Roosevelt dime error recently sold for an astonishing $70,000. Yes, $70,000 for a coin that began as a simple dime but became one of the most valuable and sought-after coins in modern American minting history. This final gem reminds us that sometimes, the greatest treasures come in the smallest packages, and that a little curiosity can turn an everyday coin into a fortune. Thanks so much for joining me on this amazing journey through some of the rarest and most fascinating Roosevelt dimes out there. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more incredible coin stories like these, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. Don't forget to like this video if you found it interesting, and share it with your fellow coin enthusiasts or anyone who loves a good treasure story. I'd also love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever found a rare coin like these? Drop a comment below and let's start a conversation. Your support means the world to me, and I can't wait to explore more hidden gems with you in future videos. Until then, keep hunting, keep discovering, and happy collecting.